The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
We're doing multiple searches and that we're utilizing our partners at the FBI that have some really, great equipment, training, experienced people, all of those things. We're coming at this investigation with from every angle and with everything that we have access to.
We have not been able to locate the child as of yet.
Cut her off from the entire world. Melodee Buzzard's grandma saying that Mom Ashlee plotted to cut the 9-year-old off completely. So we're looking ahead to Mama Ashlee's next appearance in court. Plus, we got some Cardi B courtroom drama as the security guard who lost her lawsuit is wanting another trial. This is her attorney is facing fallout from his behavior during the trial. Plus, we're spotlighting a major development in the Skelton brothers case. Their father now charged with their murder. This happening just days before he was set to be released from prison. And the murder trial of Brian Walsh is set. The accused killer in court today as he was just deemed competent to stand trial. It's all coming up next for you right here on Opening Statements. Good Monday morning to you. Welcome to Opening Statements. I'm Julie Grant. I missed you last week. It's great to be back with you. I had a few days off to take before the end of the year. So we have planned a tremendous show for you this morning. Let's get it started as we always do. Let's have you grab that cup of coffee right now. It's time for my opening statement. Some people just don't know when to come in and out of the rain. Remember the security guard who sued Cardi B and lost? Imani Ellis is asking the judge to grant her a new trial. Did she and her lawyer not learn anything from the first trial? They embarrassed themselves with her claims about Cardi B disfiguring her face when you need a magnifying glass to even see the alleged scratch. They wasted the jury's time with their nonsense, and now they want to do it again. Get out of the rain. Take the loss and learn from it. Here's the lesson. If you are in fact assaulted, call the police. This plaintiff did not do that. Instead, she filed a civil claim in civil court, presumably because there in civil court you can recover money damages. I said all along that Cardi B was smart not to settle that lawsuit. She could have. If she wanted it to go away, she certainly could have, but instead, she fought it at trial out of principle. And the jury believed Cardi B and disbelieved Ms. Ellis. So it's time now for Ms. Ellis and her lawyer to move on. It was a fair trial over an unsubstantiated claim. And even if the judge would grant them a new trial, the facts of the case remain the same. So come out of the rain and go have several seats. That's my opening statement on this Monday morning. Let me know if you like it. Right now, it's time for your daily docket.
The alleged victim is a convicted felon. He's a fraudster. He alleged, and you can look in the arrest affidavit, it says possibly grazed by the bullet. We're alleging that there is a long history between my client and this gentleman.
Oh, look at what's coming up this morning in Florida. An arraignment for former NFL star Antonio Brown. This happening this morning. He has waived his appearance. Brown's lawyer is expected to be entering a plea of not guilty for him on this attempted homicide charge. Court's going to get underway 9 a.m. Eastern time. We will be there for it all. In Iowa, we're on a verdict watch in the murder trial of Luke Truesdell. He's accused of killing and attacking 4 people with a metal pipe. Day 3 of deliberations will begin at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we're also on a verdict watch in Colorado in the murder trial of Darren Thrailkill. He's accused of strangling his girlfriend's 6-year-old son, Martin. Day 2 of deliberations begins at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Right now, we turn to your top story as we're expecting to see Ashlee Buzzard back in court this week. So it's been more than a month since her daughter Melodee has been reported missing. Melodee's paternal grandmother speaking out, saying she was in the process of adopting Melodee. Lilly Denes said that social services contacted her while Ashlee was in a mental hospital back in 2021 and asked if she would take Melodee in order to avoid sending her to foster care. But she said that Ashlee took her after picking her up from school following her release. Melodee's grandma spoke to Fox News saying that Ashlee cut the girl off from the entire world.
I don't think I can speak to her. I would punch her. I don't care if they put me in jail, but I want to know where my granddaughter is. What's going on?
Ashlee Buzzard left jail on Thursday after being arrested for false imprisonment involving a man named Tyler Brewer, who says that he went to Melodee's house to offer his help. He told News Nation that Ashlee Buzzard revealed to him where Melodee was located and who she was with. But then Ashlee threatened him with a box cutter. Brewer released a statement saying, quote, "My position has never changed. Find Melodee, protect the investigation, bring her home safely." Buzzard entering a not guilty plea to that false imprisonment case. She's due back in court on Wednesday, November 19th. Oh, Ms. Ashlee's got a lot going on, doesn't she? Let's talk about her world right now. Let's bring in our guests. We have former solicitor, famously prosecuted Susan Smith, Tommy Pope on the show, and retired NYPD detective Tom Smith. Good morning to you both. All right, so let's start with the investigation. And Tommy, you also have served as an investigator too. You're a retired SLED agent. So let me begin with you here. For everybody wondering, why hasn't she been charged with something pertaining to Melodee? What answer would you say to that, Tommy?
I think they're sorting out the pieces. I think if they could, they would have charged her. Looking at this globally, it's like a puzzle. It's a mental health puzzle, it appears to me, and that the things that this woman's doing, it's like we need to get her separated from everybody, and well, obviously we need to find the child, but, you know, the reporter box cutter thing's bizarre, that, you know, I think it's totally a mental health issue, not even maybe a malice issue, but we won't know till we dig deeper, but I think law enforcement, if they could, they would.
That's interesting. Tommy, thank you for that. Detective Smith, I want to ask you about a theory that I personally have been wanting to explore with experts such as yourself, and that is whether Melodee was trafficked. Your thoughts on that possibility?
Yeah, I mean, that's the dangerous world that we're living in now, and there's so much of that going on. That is certainly a possibility. But, you know, as far as the investigation goes, there is so much to cover. You know, we've done stories, Julie, of how long it takes looking for someone in a town or in a county. You're looking at half the country that the FBI and other law enforcement agencies have to cover. This is a tremendous undertaking, but it can be done because of the technology that's out there today with Ring cameras on phones, on people's houses, and the tracking that the FBI is able to do with their tech guys to track her phone of specific places that she went, and hopefully that comes up with something. And you mentioned charging her. You know, we said it before, and I've said it numerous times. You want to be right if you're going to charge someone. You want to be 100% with everything you got when you do this, because you want to charge her one time.
Sure. You know, the false imprisonment case, when we hear, oh, she's been, you know, charged, everybody's thinking, oh, it pertains to Melodee. And then, no, totally separate case. We're still on standby with respect to Melodee. I want to look at the map with you both now. This is the route that investigators say Ashlee took with her daughter, starting in California, going up through Nevada, Utah. They went all the way to Nebraska, as a matter of fact. And these are noting some of the stops here, you see. So, Tommy Pope, is there anything we can glean from the direction, the city she might have visited, the length of the trip? We know this was just a little 3-day adventure, so to speak. What's your thoughts on the travel, Tommy?
I think, normally if you see some logic behind a decision-making process, but I think with her mental health, it could have just been rambling. Now, it is a fairly straight line, but I don't know that it yields necessarily a plan with her. My greatest concern as far as the child is the fact that she may have adopted some variation. I was just watching her body language in the videos you were sending. Some variation, if I can't have her, nobody can have her. And that would be my greatest concern. I was thinking on the flip side, she had alluded to the reporter that maybe she would tell them who had the child. I'm sure law enforcement has done some variation of saying, if you'll just return the child, we won't charge you or something. And I think that would be worthwhile just to get that child to safety. But I'm a little concerned, again, with mom's behavior, that it may be more of a, grandmama's not going to have them, nobody's going to have them, this is my baby, it's me and you against the world. I mean, we see that in divorce situations, just with children and psychologically in general. So I'm concerned, basically, because of this woman's mental health.
Definitely, Tommy. Tom, let me ask you this. How likely do you think it is that Melodee Buzzard is still alive?
We all hope, because we never want to come to the conclusion of these stories. But, if you look at history of these cases, there's usually not a happy ending to this. And that is the tough part of this, that you have a mother that is basically a monster when it comes to this, in not allowing law enforcement to just get her back wherever she is or whatever state she's in. And that's the heartbreaking part of this.
It sure is, Tom. It sure is. We're going to hope and pray that beautiful Melodee is rescued and brought back to safety. And let's just hope that things with her mother are done appropriately and, as you both said, done right. Tommy Pope, Detective Tom Smith, thank you both so much for the great conversation. Still ahead here on Opening Statements. Here's what we've got.
I'm giving a warning. I am not that celeb that you're gonna sue and you think it's gonna settle. I'm not gonna settle, especially when I'm super, completely innocent. I know I got a little reputation, but I swear to God I'm innocent. I swear to God, like this, like I'm really innocent for real.
Remember when rapper Cardi B won her lawsuit against that security guard who accused her of assault? Well, now the security guard wants a new trial. We'll talk about that. Plus, 15 years after 3 young boys went missing in Michigan, murder charges have been filed against their father. We're spotlighting the Skelton brothers case.
Because people are saying they're making it a murder investigation does not mean that they had the person dead.
Why do you think they've switched this to a murder investigation? What do you think leads them to believe that your kids are dead?
There's nobody to collaborate, seeing them. There's no pictures of these people. We covered our text too well.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Was it unanimous, juror number 1? Yes. Number 2? Yes. Number 3?
Yes.
Number 4? Yes. Number 5?
Yes.
Number 6?
Yes.
Number 7?
Yes.
Number 8?
Yes.
Number 9?
Yes.
Number 10? Yes. 11?
Yes.
And 12?
Yes.
All right, sounds like it was unanimous verdict. Let's call questions. Can the clerk please record the verdict?
The verdict has been recorded, Your Honor.
Rapper Cardi B celebrating a win in civil court earlier this year. Remember that? After successfully defending herself against a lawsuit brought by security guard Imani Ellis. Well, that legal battle is trending yet again as the security guard is requesting a new trial. Although a jury sided with Cardi B, brand new mother of 4. In the first trial, Ellis and her attorneys are still focused on Cardi B's behavior. This time, in the request for a new trial, they're citing behavior outside of the courtroom as a potential basis for granting their request, including this moment we caught on our Court TV cameras where the Grammy Award-winning rapper threw a pen at a reporter in the crowd. This was an incident that Ellis's legal team claims where someone was pushed and injured. They stated in their motion that Cardi B's actions were completely unlawful and disrespectful, saying that additional time is needed to determine if her actions were seen by the jury. But the tension runs way deeper, as the attorneys have also filed dueling requests for sanctions against one another. What a hot mess this all is. Let's bring in Court TV digital content producer Lauren Silver, who wrote a fabulous article on it, by the way. Go to courttv.com to read that. Lauren, good morning to you. Let's start with these dueling sanctions, if we can, please. What's up with these attorneys?
They are bringing the drama. Apparently, Cardi B did not bring enough drama. The attorneys want to bring their own. So the plaintiff's attorney maintains that Cardi B's attorney, whose name is Peter Anderson, threatened him, assaulted him in the hallway during the trial. Anderson, in a response, points out that those hallways are filled with deputies and, frankly, our cameras, producers and reporters. So someone would have witnessed that. But Gianfanza also seems to think that Anderson is personally coming after him. He has been ordered to show cause. He did allegedly ask some questions that he shouldn't have asked during the trial on issues that were suppressed. And in his response, it's written almost as if Dobby the house elf from Harry Potter wrote it. He seems rather sad and pathetic. He confesses he is not, quote, a seasoned trial attorney. He says he's only tried 10 cases and says his future career path is to be a judge. So.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
So we just backing the truck up. So the security guard's lawyer is talking about himself in a not so very flattering way, saying that he's not seasoned and he's only tried 10 cases.
Yes, he's only tried 10 cases, and he says that his law license is the most important thing to him, and he would never sacrifice it for any reason. And he says that this is giving him a significant amount of anxiety, and if the court would please give plaintiff's counsel the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, my. Oh, this is something, Lauren. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why you put those things in your motion when you're supposed to be arguing about the law, the facts, you know, instead. Not so flattering things he wrote about himself there. Okay. So the motion for the new trial, so kind of the lawyers, it's like two separate things are going on. The lawyers are battling. They've got these dueling requests for sanctions. And then there's the separate inquiry the court is going to have to take up as to whether or not this security guard should get a second trial. What can you tell us about this request, Lauren?
Right. So most of the issues that Gianfanza identified as for why she should get a new trial occurred during the trial, but outside the presence of the jury. So it shouldn't really be relevant. Again, the pen throwing was mentioned in his response. Anderson questioned, why would a member of the jury been standing on the courthouse steps with a press gaggle? That, of course, would not have been allowed by any judge. Similarly, any alleged assault in the hallways between him, a witness, and the other attorney, there's no reason the jury would have been in the hallway. So the reasons he cites aren't really grounded in anything the jury saw.
So that's a good point. That's a good point, Lauren. Yeah, this is really interesting. December the 5th, I understand they're going to be in court to make some arguments, and we will be covering that. Lauren Silver, thank you so much for the info. Let's dig in a little deeper with our legal analyst expert guest. He is a celebrity attorney. You saw him try and win the landmark case, Depp versus Heard. Johnny Depp's attorney, Ben Chu. Ben, good morning. Good to see you as always. All right, so let's start with the motion for a new trial, this request that Ms. Ellis's legal team has filed, citing the pen incident. What are your thoughts on how well that argument is going to do for them?
Well, good morning, Julie. Great to be with you. I think that Ms. Ellis and her counsel have violated the rule of holes, which is when you're in one, stop digging. This was a disaster for the plaintiff and her attorney, and they should just stop, because this motion has zero chance of winning and stands a real chance of annoying the judge any further than the judge has already been annoyed.
Excellent points. Ben, that's like one of the best quotes I ever heard, the rule of holes. Ben Chu, I'm going to have to use that quote of yours again and again. Of course, we'll give you credit. So the other thing they're citing with the Penn incident, which members of the jury were inside of the courthouse, as we know, and that was the response from Cardi B's legal team, like the jurors weren't part of the members of the media. Then they say that they were unfairly surprised and didn't have time to depose the doctor and the nurse at the office where Cardi B was being treated. And I question that, Ben, because that woman worked in that building and would have known about these two potentially being witnesses. I'd love for you to weigh in on the validity of that argument.
Julie, I totally agree with you. I don't think it's legitimate at all. And I think, if anything, it's just exposing the lack of preparation by the plaintiff and her attorney. And you have the attorney making his own admission that he's not a seasoned practitioner. That's not an excuse. In fact, that's an admission. So I think this whole thing is frivolous. They should take their marbles and go home.
Definitely. Ben, tell me, with respect to the Cardi B legal team, obviously now what this plaintiff's lawyer is doing is putting this case back in the news again, and it's back in the cycle. People are talking about it. What response, if any, do you think Cardi B and her legal team should have for the members of the media who might be interested in what they have to say?
Well, I think they're really in the catbird seat. I don't think they have to exchange, tit for tat sanctions motions. As you know, judges hate sanctions motions. They won. They can take the high road. If I were representing her from a Brandon representation management perspective, I would just tell her to focus on her career, talk about her next album, saying that she stood up for principle and is moving on. I just think she's won. There's no reason for her to get back in the muck with this security officer who really, her job was to protect Cardi B, not to bring a case against her.
So well said. Ben Chu, you're the best. Thank you so much for weighing in on this. We'll keep following it. December 5th is the next court date. Still to come here on Opening Statements, here's what we've got.
They're adults today.
Correct.
They could walk through that door right now.
Wish they could.
But they can't. Why is that?
Because John killed them.
The Skelton brothers missing since 2010. Now their dad is charged with their murders. Plus, the murder trial of Brian Walsh now is set. And guess what? He's going to be in court today. We'll talk about what's tipping the scales.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Alexander William Skelton, Andrew Ryan Skelton, and Tanner Lucas Skelton have been missing since November 26, 2010. Given their undisputed disappearance for over 14 years, the statutory presumption of death applies.
In our spotlight this morning, after nearly 15 years, finally a breakthrough in the case of the Skelton brothers. The three boys going missing back on Thanksgiving in 2010. They were with their father, John Skelton, at the time, and now a decade and a half later, their dad is charged with their murders. This coming days before Skelton was scheduled to walk out of prison. He was convicted on an unlawful imprisonment charge and scheduled to be released at the end of this month. Detectives claim that he continued to lie throughout the case.
I do communicate with him through a lot of different avenues and get information from him and about him. He's still giving us nothing but lies. Every time he seems to share information with us, it's either misdirection or it's just a bold-faced lie. His world is closing in on him. All the family and the distant friends and people that he has been in communication with, that's all fallen off. Our goal is to get him to where he doesn't believe that anyone believes his lies. and I think he's getting to that point. If the boys are out there, I hope they know that people are fighting for them every day.
Earlier this year, a probate judge granted a petition to declare the missing brothers legally dead. Let's talk about this case. Let's bring in someone with a tremendous amount of prosecutorial experience with child abuse cases. You got to see him in action, winning the case against Shonda Vander Ark. He's the chief trial attorney in the Muskegon County, Michigan District Attorney's Office, Matt Roberts. Matt, good morning to you. Talk to us, please, about how right on the heels of Dad's release, finally, this break in the case comes. What do you make of it?
Well, good morning, Julie. It's great to be here again. Yeah, it's an interesting case for sure. Certainly the timing here is one that somebody might raise some question about, but obviously the prosecution in this case felt that the investigation had moved to a point where there was really no alternative at this point but to accuse the father of murder here. Certainly the disappearance of these three young boys at such a young age and so long ago with no sign being seen of them since that time is some pretty compelling evidence. So obviously the prosecution thought that they were ready to go, and now is the best time to do it with him on the eve of being released from prison.
Right. Matt, tell me, in terms of some of the challenges that may be ahead for these prosecutors, what do you think is going to be most difficult in this case?
Well, certainly the fact that the kids have not been found, right? I mean, that's these no body cases are very tricky for the prosecution. You know, a little bit easier maybe with the fact that there's three of them here. Certainly one person disappearing might be a little easier to explain, but three, that becomes a little bit harder to explain and a little bit harder to say that there might be some perfectly, well, not perfectly innocent, but some type of explanation short of there being murder. But you still do have to prove that these children were murdered, that they were actually killed, that somebody with some level of malice, in this case the father, murdered these boys. And that's a tough case when you don't have a body. Obviously there's the missing children, and that's pretty compelling, but is there some motivation? Is there some reason why the father may have done those things? All those things are what the prosecution is going to have to bring to the table to make up for that absence of in this case, the bodies of these three young boys.
Right, Matt. I have a clip for you from the boy's mother, Tanya Zuvers, and we know that she used to be married to John Skelton. They, had a divorce and a custody battle with the boys. Let's take a look at some of what she said in a past hearing, blaming John Skelton for the boys' disappearance.
You know, if your children were alive, they would have found you.
Yes, they would have.
So today they would all be adults, correct?
Correct.
So any explanation that you've ever been told or heard about why John Skelton would have hidden them? They're adults today.
Correct.
They could walk through that door right now.
Wish they could.
But they can't. Why is that?
Because John killed them.
Matt, how key of a witness do you think Tanya Zuvers is going to be for the state?
Well, I think she's going to be very important because obviously she's going to be the one who's received all this information, all these lies about what happened to these kids. And that really is the most compelling piece of evidence that the prosecution is going to have here, is that if there is some other explanation for why these children are gone, short of that they were killed by him, why lie about it? Why lie about it apparently repeatedly to the mother, and to be able to have her present that, and not just presenting those lies, but the compelling nature of her talking about her kids being missing for so long, and as she said, they can't come back to her, they would have come back to her. Really going to be powerful stuff for the jury to consider here for sure.
Yes, Matt, as per usual, you're hitting the nail right on the head. This guy's lies, his lies and conflicting stories, as you know, have really, I think, sunk him largely. Let's take a look at some of what was reported by the Detroit Free Press about him. He's offered conflicting accounts, claiming he gave his sons to first an underground group to protect them from alleged abuse by their mother. Then he said that he had given them to a woman named Joanne Taylor, and then separately that he had sent them to live with an Amish family. Police say none of these stories ever substantiated. The lies, how do you think we're going to see the prosecutors use these lies against this guy at trial, Matt?
Well, I think what you're going to see is the prosecution put each one of those up and then just knock them down, right? It's sort of set up these straw men, as it were, to explain why you can't listen to anything that he said and why the only explanation that is reasonable to conclude here for the jury is that he murdered them. So I think you're going to see each one put up piece by piece and then taken apart. What did the police do to investigate this claim and this claim and this claim, and why are these claims not valid? Just so the jury is left with no other conclusion other than he had to have murdered them. Otherwise, why not just tell the truth about where they are? Why could you not prove where they are and bring them back?
Mm-hmm. Right. Matt, tell us, what else are you thinking about? I mean, you just have so much great experience serving in this world as we're getting ready to all watch the progression of this case. As you know, this is one we've followed, been interested in, and it's like, finally, there's the break. And so a lot of people are going to be hoping and praying for justice for these little boys. Tell us what you're thinking about as you get ready to watch the case and see all the evidence unfolding.
Well, what I'd be looking for here is that preliminary examination, that hearing, that probable cause determination that's going to come by statute within 21 days of arraignment on the charge, maybe a little bit longer. You could see it being delayed in a case like this for sure, but really looking at that to see, okay, is there something else besides that these children are just missing and that the dad lied about where they came from? Has there been some other break? Has there been some forensic evidence that has come to light here? We just don't know that, and that's appropriate that we don't know at this point, because certainly there shouldn't be any tainting of the jury pool or anything like that. So I'm just looking to see if there is something more here to this case than just the absence of these boys and the lies about what happened to them. And that will come at that prelim.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, Matt. Certainly a big date to watch whenever that date rolls around. Hopefully we'll be there broadcasting it. I want to play a clip for you. This is a phone interview. This is from 2011 of John Skelton's. And take a listen to what he says about him believing that this is a murder investigation. Here we go.
Because people are saying they're making it a murder investigation does not mean that that the person did.
Why do you think they've switched this to a murder investigation? What do you think leads them to believe that your kids are dead?
There's nobody to collaborate, seeing them. There's no pictures of these people. We covered our text too well.
Matt, what's your reaction to that?
Well, that's great stuff for the prosecution, and I'm sure that's something that is going to be used, because that's what we call the absence of a denial, right? So when confronted with a situation where the obvious thing to do is to deny your involvement and explain your involvement, you don't even deny it. So that's really compelling stuff there for a jury to look at. And like you hit on there, the we part of that. Well, who's the we in this equation? It's not this Amish family. It's not this underground network of people that you're talking about. So who's the we there? That's something that the jury is really, I think, going to key in on when they get to that point.
I think you're exactly right. To Matt Roberts, thank you so much. We're looking forward to seeing more of you in our next hour when Court TV Live begins. Thanks so much. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, here's what's next.
There were also more Google searches on January 2nd. Caps log best tool to dismember. Can you be charged with murder without a body? Can you identify a body with broken teeth?
Got accused killer Brian Walsh in court today for his final pre-trial hearing, as the case is going to trial now soon.
This is the Court TV Podcast.
The defendant is now before the court charged with murder of his wife, Anna Walsh, as well as disinterring of a body. On January 4th of 2023, Cohasset police received a call indicating that she was missing. At 4:55 a.m. on January 1st, he searched how long before a body starts to smell. At 5:47 a.m., 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to.
Accused wife killer Brian Walsh returns to court this morning for his final pretrial hearing before jury selection starts tomorrow. Walsh is accused of murdering and dismembering his wife, Anna, right around New Year's Day back in 2023. Her body has never been found. On Friday, the judge ruled that the trial should proceed after doctors declared that Walsh is, in fact, now competent to stand trial and that there would be no change of the venue. So this morning, we're looking at what could tip the scales of justice in this high-profile case. Let's bring back in our legal eagles, attorneys Ben Chu and Tommy Pope. Okay, so let's talk about first whether the judge made the right call in denying the motion for change of venue. This means Mr. Walsh is going to have a trial in Dedham, Massachusetts. Tommy Pope, your thoughts, please.
Well, of course, the court looks at a number of factors and where your witnesses are and things, and the publicity. And under our law, you actually had to try to draw a jury. And if you couldn't get a fair and impartial jury, then the judge would entertain it. And so it's not surprising. I mean, and it's hard to find anywhere that hadn't heard something about a case. So the key is going to be in the voir dire of the jury and the seating of the jury to make sure you get 12 impartial people.
Yeah, exactly. Ben Chu, tell us what you think about the judge denying the defense motion for change of venue.
I agree with Tommy. I think it was perfectly appropriate. Such motions, as you know, Julie, are granted only in the most unusual circumstances. They're not present here. And as the judge pointed out, this murder occurred 3 years ago. So the initial flurry of publicity would have subsided by the time the juror questionnaires went out. So I think the judge was well within the court's discretion to do what it did.
Right, Ben, thank you. Let's talk a little bit about some of the facts of this case. I can't wait to see this case open up and all the evidence come in. Starting with the fact that we know that Anna Walsh's body has never been found. We do know from investigators that there's video of hubby Brian at Home Depot buying mops, buying goggles, and a knife. We know investigators recovered a hacksaw and a small bone fragment in a dumpster outside of Brian Walsh's mother's house. And we know that he had searched many times on his computer about instructions on the disposal of human remains. Tommy Pope, you are a prosecutor. The fact that there's no body here, is that a dispositive factor in any way in this case?
It's always been difficult. I think that's changed somewhat, probably because of all the cases people have seen on court TV where there's not a body. But I mean, you have the makings of a made-for-TV movie there when he's buying the materials, when he's researching. I started thinking of everything I've looked up when I was working on things in the barn. I better go clear my cache or something. All the things I've looked at are when we're doing this, and I look up, how would you dispose of a body? And, so I might need you guys as my alibi before it's over. But I don't think the prosecution, when I say they're not going to have any problem, obviously, we have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. It's tough, but I think it's got all the makings of a conviction, at least from the outside where we're looking now.
All right, Tommy. Let's dig in more of the, we're with the Google searches. Ben Chu, I have a clip from one of the past court appearances where you'll hear the prosecutor detailing just some of what Mr. Walsh was searching for. Let's take a listen.
How long before a body starts to smell? At 4:58 a.m., how to stop a body from decomposing. At 5:20 a.m., he searched how to embalm a body. At 5:47 a.m., 10 ways to dispose of a dead body if you really need to.
Oof. All right, Ben, tell us, how damaging are these searches for Mr. Walsh?
On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say 11. And I agree with Tommy's point that Court TV and you and all the other wonderful legal commentators have done a great service to educate the people. People talk about the difference between direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence can be quite damning. And in this case, I mean, what other possible explanation could there be at 4:30 in the morning to doing these kind of Google searches, unless it's you are trying to dispose of a body or directing someone else to do it?
Right, Ben. Yeah, either way, he's sunk. You're right. And I really appreciate your comments about the circumstantial evidence. Thank you for that. It's a pet peeve of mine. It drives me crazy when people say, oh, the case is circumstantial. I forget about it. No. And you lawyers are so seasoned. You know just how powerful, as Ben said, how powerful that evidence can be when you have it in a case. So certainly not fatal. I have a clip from, this is when our team was in Massachusetts for one of the previous hearings, and we got to speak with just some residents in the town about the buzz about this case. And now that we've got a trial date, we're inching closer to justice for Anna. Let's take a listen to what some of the folks said.
I think we are kind of just holding hands in all of this and just trying to get along and get through it. It's a tough thing to have happen in your town, and you don't want the town to have any sort of reputation of something like this because it's so not like Cohasset.
It's very disturbing, very heart-wrenching that this happened to this family and these poor children, and I think the community's coming together and trying to do something to support them, and that's the best they can do. It's really a tragedy.
Really compassionate people there that we got to speak to about this. And if I'm a prosecutor, I like them from my jury. I want to ask you both who you may like on the jury here and why. So starting with the prosecution side of this, then we'll get to the defense side. Ben, let me begin with you. What types of jurors do you think are going to be best for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts?
Well, I don't think there are going to be any bad jurors here. I think you would like to have women in particular, because I think women tend to be smarter than men generally, and I think they would be particularly sympathetic. I think, again, I think across the educational spectrum would be fine. I don't think you necessarily need more as opposed to less educated jurors. I think this is something that any stable juror would understand.
Definitely. Love what you said about wanting a female jury. I'm with you, Ben. Tommy Pope, what else? Let's expound upon that. Who else would you like on the jury?
Well, I was thinking that, if I was the defense, I would want a conspiracy theorist, somebody that, you got to show. It kind of goes back to what Ben was saying about the, circumstantial evidence. I've got to go back, Julie. I can't resist this. When you're searching Google for when you have the body, how do you dispose of it when you really need to? Versus, if I understood what she said, as opposed to just casually needing to dispose of the body. So anyway, I think when any juror, with the exception of maybe a conspiracy theorist, I don't want to talk about my Republican MAGA friends sometimes, but I think you're going to see everybody buy what the prosecution's selling this time.
And I think we just have a little bit of time left, but quickly, in terms of other defense jurors, if you're on the defense side, who you may want. Might you want men? What do you think, Ben? Do you go that route?
I don't know. Maybe a multiply divorced misogynist man. I don't know how you identify that.
Right. Oh, I wish we had more time to keep talking. You two are fantastic. We'll leave it there for now, and we get ready for this guy to go to court tomorrow for the jury selection. He's got a hearing today, the final pretrial hearing. Court TV is going to be there for it all. Attorneys Ben Chu and Tommy Pope, thank you for the excellent legal insight today. It's been a pleasure. And friends at home, it's been so great having you join us for opening statements. If you like the show today, watch it again, share it, tell your friends about it. We put the episodes up for you every day on courttv.com. Just click on that red shows tab. That's all for this episode of Opening Statements, my friends. I'm your host, Julie Grant, and it's been great being with you. On this show, I am calling out any pants on fire moments in our big trials and true crime stories, and I want you to come along with me. Opening Statements is live every weekday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern on Court TV. Thank you for downloading this episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. You can watch past shows anytime you like on courttv.com.